Welcome to another day of my Vlogmas here on the west coast of Norway. We woke up to the first snow of December because the snow we had in November had already melted, and it's going to be nice to cover the brown grass with some white snow. The night before, I finally finished up Nellie's Christmas stocking, the Black Mountain stocking, and it had a lot of ends to weave in, but I decided to try a new technique that I saw of just braiding the ends since they were all in the same place. This is not something that I would do for a garment that I would wear, but since this is something that will just hang on the wall, it was fine for this particular item. I decided to just block it in the sink under very hot water. I didn't find the need to use soak since this is not going to be worn on the body. So warm water was enough just to relax the stitches and let it block out nicely before hanging it up to be used for this Christmas. And yes, I'm using a makeup brush to push it under because the water is just that hot. On the 3rd of December, my cousin and I attended a local creators guild to learn how to make Christmas gift bags. I didn't take a lot of footage because I was too busy frantically sewing, but I did manage to get away with 2 bags that I made in the span of 2 hours, while also connecting with other people. Nellie is a huge fan of these bags, and I have to steal them away from her to show you. And I spent the next day creating more of them at home just so I wouldn't forget how to make them. They're reversible and the seams doesn't even show, which I absolutely love. Of course, these will be knitting bags. I woke up on the 4th to another beautiful morning. The snow hadn't decided to stay, but it was still nice out. And I got to enjoy one of my favorite TV shows during December, which is an Advent show about the nisser who lives in a mountain. They spend all year foraging for December, and on the 4th is the big sock knitting day where everyone has to knit a pair of socks to last them until next year, which I find very wholesome. And some of the nisser try to bribe for more yarn. The TV show is called Jul in Blåfjell, and it's a Norwegian show from when I was a child, but I like to rewatch it to get that Christmassy feeling every year. I'm enjoying very much opening my Advents, and the one that I'm knitting on for every day is the Zigzag Zen Blanket by Anna Yuti Knits, and Nellie tries to steal the yarn. The yarn is from Cami Jo Knits, and I'm really enjoying reading the H.C. Andersen stories for Nellie, 1 per day as I knit on the blanket. And I'm keeping it in one of my lovely Christmas bags and doing 1 color per day, but I'm changing it up with just the white yarn in between so that the colors really get to shine.
Whispers of a snowy tale, dreams of reindeer on the trail. Santa's sleigh goes up and down.
I'm also opening up my other Advents. The one hanging here is from Sakami, and this might just become a wearable shawl, but I have yet to decide. I'm contemplating waiting with this Advent until January month and have that be a knit for then. The grenouille colors are going to go into another blanket for a later time.
Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance in rain. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere.
I'll make a knitter of her yet. She definitely does find yarn and my little trinkets very exciting, so I think there is hope. Of course, I have to show you how the colors are looking. The 4th day of granule is going along with the fade, starting to get just a little bit lighter, and I'm realizing that this is not looking very well on camera, so I'm going to show you again in the window in a little bit. This Akami one is also following along, getting slightly darker as we're going from day 3 to 4. So here you can see it's a nice yellowy green tint to a very light base, while the granule is a dark, more maroonish color. And here you can see the nisser, the blå nisser, bargaining for how much yarn they're gonna need for their stockings. I love how the yarn they're getting are some messy tangles that would frustrate any real knitter. The pie that I made the day before was very good, so I highly recommend checking out that recipe if you're looking for another sourdough apple pie recipe in your life. These first days of December has been super busy, I feel. I'm still trying to get a little bit of knitting in for those few moments that I have available to me while Nelly naps and I don't have 100 other things that need to be done that cannot be postponed. I'm working on the Olympia sweater from You Knit in the Making Memories book. Or was it Memory Lane? I confuse them. I have both books. Highly recommend both of them. They were gifted to me, but the patterns in them are truly beautiful. I felt like I needed to keep up the new skill that I acquired. Having the pattern fresh in mind of how to sew these bags, I wanted to sew up a few more with some scrap fabrics that I had in my house already. My sewing machine is from Toyota and we are not really friends as it doesn't allow me to go slow, but we will manage, and I was able to produce some bags that I will show you in the next vlog video. I kept these close by that I had already made to remind myself which way to sew things, and then I cut out some malls for how to cut the fabric, and I went away cutting into a bunch of the things that I had available. I have a cutting board and this knife that rolls over the fabric. I bought it at a time where I thought sewing would be my new favorite hobby, but then I never really got into it because, like I said, my sewing machine and we aren't really friends. But I felt inspired now that somebody showed me how to actually do something. I'm way more of a visual learner, and I learn a lot more from in-person meetings than through YouTube personally, so having this class that we went to was the perfect way for me to get into this. Once I had cut out the bands and the bags themselves, it was all about ironing them and then sewing it all together the correct way. Now I did sew some of the pieces the wrong way, and I had to rip it back and do it over. That's how it is when I get a little bit too eager. But it's all good. It all turned out well in the end, and I have some new project bags that I'm going to show you next time. Christmas cheer is everywhere. After Nelly's nap, it was time for me and my cousin to drive to our evening's class of ceramics. And it was a lovely snowy day and the roads were closed and we got there late. But it was the last day of our 3-day course and we were going to paint our ceramics, which are going to be Christmas gifts for this year if they survive the last burn. I made a lot of different items. It's not a throwing class, it was mostly freestyle. So this is a mix of mine on the right and upper side and Sunniva's on the left. We were painting it, which was very stressful to me because we don't actually know how it's going to turn out. And there were 3 different paints that we could use. It was the oxide powder that was mixed with water, then it was the dip dye, and then it was the regular paint brush kind of glaze. And I am very nervous because there weren't actual samples that showed us how the colors were going to turn out. There was only a few, so it was a little bit of a gamble, and I just hope that I did not destroy the things that I made with some poor choice glaze. So let's cross our fingers that my little creations make it to Christmas Eve and that they are not all completely destroyed and messed up by poor choices. After the class, we went back to my aunt's house to change cars, and we had to check on the sausage situation. Now they're just hanging here to dry for a couple of days before going in the freezer, and they are looking delicious. The next day I had to prepare the kitchen for baking. My cousin and my friend were coming over, so I made some Christmas coffee with cinnamon and cardamom, and then prepped the gingerbread cookies and the sun cookies, which is a part of the 7 traditional cookies that we bake for Christmas. My friend was making the chess cookies. My cousin was making the Swedish gingerbread. And then we're also decorating the gingerbread houses. Had to open the advent for the day, which was going in line with the color theme, still going slightly lighter. And had to skein up the ball for the Cameo knit advent because that's the one that I'm knitting on. And excuse the mess and the overflow, but this is how I like it. And I'm gonna hold up the 3 colors so you can see. So Cameo knit advent on top, which is a beautiful color, and then Zakami yarn, and then the Grenouille yarn. The 5th was the Thumbelina colorway from Grenouille, and I had that book, so I read that to Nelly in the evening. I have a cake winder, but I am enjoying making little balls of the advent, and I think if I have leftovers, I'm gonna put them in a little jar, and it's gonna look very cute with them all balled up instead of caked up. Another nap, another sewing. I made a mistake with this bag, so I had to seam rip it and then sew it again. But then once I got it right, it turned out really well, if I may say so myself. Nice to make some bags and colors that I like and the prints that I've purchased with the purpose of making something and finally getting around to doing it. And ta-da, we have a bag and a nice olive green color. And I paired this with a Christmassy inside lining so that I could have a Christmas or all year bag. Then I had to make the cookies before Nelly woke up. I didn't manage to, and she's not a big fan of machine noises, so this batch stood unfinished until my friends arrived. So I had some help entertaining her so I could finish the batch. These cookies are the perfect cookies to make with smaller children, as it's not very messy and you just roll it into little balls and flatten it with a fork, so it's something that's easy to do when they don't have the most advanced motor skills. A 10-month-old is too young, but it's good for 2 and 3-year-old kids if you have those. So I can see if I can link the pattern, not the pattern, but the recipe for these cookies down below. It doesn't use a lot of ingredients either. It's butter, sugar, 1 egg, flour, potato flour, and a little bit of vanilla sugar. And I think that's all there is to it. You mix it all together, and then you make little balls that you flatten with a fork, and then put in the oven for 10 minutes, and that's it. My machine actually broke down doing this, so now I have a new thing on my wish list. Here I'm trying to hold up the ingredients, but yeah, I'll link it all below so you can see if it's something that interests you. My little helper woke up, but she wasn't having it, so we had to do a little dance so she wouldn't be scared of the machine noises, but I gave up after a little twirl and we decided to go down and play instead. As a busy mom, I cheated and bought a ready ginger house and a ready-made glue to just save on a little bit of time. Though gluing a gingerbread house with a one hand while holding a baby is not to be advised. It was tricky and not perfect, but it worked somehow in the end. Voila! The pipe goes on. Wasn't sure where to put it, but I ended up placing it off-centered, which is how houses often are built here. And then now I just had to decorate it. I decided to do this before my friends arrived, just to save on a little bit of time, and putting in what we call sewng, which is gooey men and women, chewy men and women. I don't know how to translate it. And just used some powdered sugar with water to create the glaze, and then used little chocolates and different gummy things to decorate it very simply. Not my best work, but with a toddler on my back, it will do as good enough for this year. And then hopefully next year she can help me decorate.
Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance in ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Whisper your where.
My friends finally arrived and we got around to baking full throttle to get everything made in time for Nellie's bedtime and my friend's son's bedtime. We only have one oven, so we did our best. It still took quite a while, and of course not only did my machine break down, the lights in the oven also broke down today, so it was really not my best day, but we still had a lovely time and things did get finished in the end. And we listened to Christmas music and had some lovely Christmas soda and just a jolly good time. I had oven duty, which was a busy duty as there was so many trays that needed to go in and out. These are the sandkaka that we made, and in front of me is the Swedish gingerbread cookies, which are made with syrup and almonds, which are lovely. This is the Norwegian julebrus, we call it. It's a red soda that is supposed to be for Christmas, but it arrives in the stores, I think, already in September, which is way too early. But we always drink it in December, and it's a part of our nostalgic Christmas feeling. Nellie found a little bit of the sun cookies and tried it. She liked it, I think. We also made some rice cereal chocolate creations that we always make that are delicious. My cousin was in charge of those. Decorating gingerbread cookies is one of my favorites. But usually by the time we're done with all the baking, we're all exhausted, so they don't always get decorated, or at least only a few get decorated. But I tried this year to at least get some decorated because I really like the flavor as well of the powdered sugar glaze. It appears I'm not the only one who likes the flavor of powdered sugar glaze. Nellie quickly found some remnants on the table, and when we weren't watching, she found out that it was a good idea to just eat it straight from the source. Here you see the rice cereal chocolate creations, the Swedish gingerbread, the chess pieces, the sunnötter, and the good old gingerbread on the side there, with a little bit of creations. All in all, it was a good batch. This is what's left after my friends took their share, so there's quite a bit of Christmas cookies to keep us busy, probably for the next 2 months, as well as the very messy gingerbread house where everything started to fall off. Wound down at the end of the night with some lovely knitting, catching up with Sarah from It Is a Sarah podcast, and working on my Advent blanket. I started the 3rd section, so they're getting longer, but I can't wait to show you more of my December month. Have a lovely night.
Children laughing in the snow, chubby cheeks in a rosy glow. Silver bells ring clear and bright underneath the starry night. Candy canes and gingerbread, hanging lights above their head. Stockings hung by fireplace, tiny hands so full of grace. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Whispers of a snowy tale, dreams of reindeer on the trail. Santa's sleigh goes up and down, bringing gifts to every town. Holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Oh, holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is Children laughing in the snow, chubby cheeks in a rosy glow. Silver bells ring clear and bright underneath the starry night. Candy canes and gingerbread, hanging lights above their head. Stockings hung by fireplace, tiny hands so full of grace. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Everywhere. Whispers of a snowy tale, dreams of reindeer on the trail. Santa's sleigh goes up and down, bringing gifts to every town. Holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Oh, holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Children laughing in the snow, chubby cheeks in a rosy glow. Silver bells ring clear and bright underneath the starry night. Candy canes and gingerbread, hanging lights above their head. Stockings hung by fireplace, tiny hands so full of grace. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Everywhere. Whispers of a snowy tale, dreams of reindeer on the trail. Santa's sleigh goes up and down, bringing gifts to every town. Holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Oh, holly leaves and mistletoe, Children laughing in the snow, chubby cheeks in a rosy glow. Silver bells ring clear and bright underneath the starry night. Candy canes and gingerbread, hanging lights above their head. Stockings hung by fireplace, tiny hands so full of grace. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance in a ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Whisper, whispers of a snowy tale, dreams of reindeer on the trail. Santa's sleigh goes up and down, bringing gifts to every town. Holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Oh, holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Melody. Children laughing in the snow, chubby cheeks in a rosy glow. Silver bells ring clear and bright underneath the starry night. Candy canes and gingerbread, hanging lights above their head. Stockings hung by fireplace, tiny hands so full of grace. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance in a ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Whispers of a snowy tale, dreams of reindeer on the trail. Santa's sleigh goes up and down, bringing gifts to every town. Holly leaves and mistletoe, moon above with golden glow. Every heart is light and free, wrapped in Christmas melody. Jingle jolly joy we sing, round the tree we dance and ring. Winter's magic fills the air, Christmas cheer is everywhere. Oh, holly leaves and mistletoe, Christmas melody.